Is the Wine Aroma Wheel still the go-to educational tool when you begin your wine tasting journey? This Wine Aroma Wheel was first published in 1984 and then later revised in 1987. So is it really still relevant today? A physical product in an AI-powered world, in a digital world? Yes, yes, yes. The answer is yes. And in this video, I will tell you exactly why the Wine Aroma Wheel is still a very relevant tool for all the wine lovers like you starting their wine education journey. And I will show you how to use it, and I will share some research insights demonstrating its benefit for your wine tasting education. Hi, I'm Isabelle Lesschaeve. I'm a wine sensory scientist turned tasting coach, and I've trained hundreds of students, hundreds of people to describe wine perceptions with precision and confidence. I purchased the Wine Aroma Wheel business from its creator, Dr. Anne Noble, in 2019, and I will tell more about Anne in a minute. And I expanded its impact by offering sensory training inside my online platform, InnoVinum Academy, and my online community, Curious Palates, and you will find more information below. Back in the late 70s, when Dr. Anne Noble joined the faculty at the University of California, Davis in the Viticulture and Enology department, wine description was reserved to the so-called experts who liked obscure language to describe wine, like elegant and harmonious or austere or round. While the average consumer don't have that vocabulary, and often when you start your wine tasting journey, you smell a glass of wine and you recognize some of the aromas, but you can't really name them. It's what we call the tip of the nose phenomenon. And Dr. Noble really was a bit frustrated about the conflict between these two worlds, the fuzzy language from the experts and the inability for normal people to describe with precision how they enjoy wine and why they enjoyed wine. So really, the Wine Aroma Wheel was born out of these two frustrations in 1984. And words have meaning, and Dr. Noble really needed to have a precise language for her research. She wanted really to correlate the aromas that she was identifying through chemical analysis with what normal people were perceiving when tasting a wine. So she wanted to correlate the chemistry with sensory perceptions. And without, precise words to describe each perception, it was difficult to have reliable and interpretable correlations. So she looked for a way to standardize the wine description so that the words used by normal people, even experts who were willing to participate in her research, would be more objective, less vague, less subjective. And in a sense, the work that she accomplished through that research really helped the non-expert, the average consumer, finally find a way to explain why they enjoy a particular wine. So the Wine Aroma Wheel really was born from science and not from snobbery. It was really to help both researchers and consumers to speak the same language. The goal was really to bridge the world of wine experts, wine researchers, with the world of wine consumers. So the goal beyond the research was to establish this shared language. Really, it was to facilitate communication. So it was really a great tool for wine experts to use to explain to wine consumers why, they particularly appreciated a wine and why they would recommend it for purchasing. It was really a basic tool to bridge these two worlds. So how is the wheel organized? It's a wheel, it's round, and it is organized in 3 layers. The inner layer, which includes 11 categories, so they're very generic categories, and a middle tier, and an outer tier, a third tier. So how to use it? But first thing, let's reframe the purpose of the wheel. It's to facilitate communication. It's a guide. It's not a universal lexicon. It's a standardized lexicon, and it's a bit different. Standardized, it means that we define the words, and it's really to help facilitate communication. universal seems to mean that it's valid everywhere. So a little bit more about that in a minute. So how to use the wine aroma wheel? Well, you start broad and you start in the middle of the wheel because it takes you through a step-by-step process of categorization. You have in the center the broad category that makes you reflect on what you sense. Do you sense something evoking a fruity note, a floral note, a herbaceous note? And then you go to the next step, which is, okay, well, it's fruity. Or I have different fruity notes here. The fruity notes could be from citrus, berry, tree fruit, tropical fruit. Could be cooked, it could be dry. Or could be, something a bit more artificial. So it takes you through the journey to try to specify from the generic category what you perceive in a more precise way. And sometimes, that's where we land. We cannot always be very specific. But from fruity, you can go to tree fruit. It reminds me of some tree fruit, or it reminds me of some citrus note. And that's fine. If you can go further, then the third tier of the wheel here give you some suggestions. If it is citrus, is it grapefruit or lemon? Lime is not there, but why not? It can be lime as well. Or if it is berries, it is blackberry, raspberry, strawberry. So it gives you suggestions. But really, it's a tool to help you categorize as one step at a time from the middle to the outer tier so that, it helps you find your words. So again, it's a guide. It's a compass to help you categorize what you sense when smelling a glass of wine. And as I mentioned earlier, it's not exhaustive. Lime is not there, pear is not on it. It doesn't mean that these aromas are not relevant to describe wine. When we ask Dr. Noble why some of those words are missing, she will say, well, there is so much real estate on this circle to put all the words, so they focused on the most frequent terms that were used at the time. So the words on the wine aroma wheels, about 83, are suggestions, and they are not exhaustive in a sense that you can go beyond. And you can even be more precise, because if you perceive apple, is it like a green apple, red apple? Some people are able to discern these nuances. Is it more cooked? Is it more candied? You can also go beyond the third tier if you are able to do that. And by design, the wine aroma wheel really focus on aromas, these perceptions that are evoked from aroma compounds that are volatile, coming out of the glass that you can smell, but you can also perceive through retronasal perception. It doesn't include any taste or mouthfeels. Descriptors, which are also important component to describe wine. But wine aromas are found to be still in 2026, at the time of this recording, are still very difficult for most people to describe. And the main reason is that we've never learned to really put a name on what we perceive through our sense of smell. We always used our most dominant sense, which is sight, and a bit of hearing, and maybe a bit of touch. But smell and taste are the forgotten senses. And really my mission is to make sure that you awaken those senses, because they are so important in your wine appreciation. So words have meaning, and you need to train your sense of smell and your brain to identify the sense associated to those words, because words on the wheel are words on the wheel. You need to associate a meaning to those words. And the next step, after you use the wheel and you use your own references to describe the wine, if you want to go further, when you are a bit confused, sensory training is really the most effective way to develop your sense of smell and enrich your sensory library or sensory repertoire. And I have several processes or several techniques that you can use and you can find in my training and in the community I referred to earlier on, where we use real ingredients, real products to create this sensory library, to really awaken and train your sense of smell to identify those very nuanced aromas in a glass of wine. And the good thing is that you can learn at any age. And This is the process of memorizing or encoding that I have described in a previous video, and I will put somewhere here the reference to this video. What has been shown by Katherine Latour and her collaborators in 2010 was that using the Wine Aroma Wheel really helps you memorize your tasting experience so that you can learn more effectively. It's a great tool for beginners to learn a structured tasting method, and it gives you reassurance in the process. And the team of researchers was also able to demonstrate that through different experiments. And it reminds me of one of my students, Sanjay, who during one of our tasting was using the wheel and rotating it because he was perceiving something green, and then suddenly he said, "Oh, it's cut green beans. It's green beans." And he told us, with the rest of the group, that if he hadn't had the Wine Aroma Wheel, he wouldn't have been able to really pinpoint the precise word, because these words are here as stimulus to evoke, to help you put the name of what you perceive. And sometimes you need to see the word to say, oh yes, that's what it is, green bean. So that's why, when you teach wine appreciation, if you're a wine educator, the Wine Aroma Wheel is a great tool to facilitate the initial tasting, to make it more approachable to your students. And, once they become more confident, they probably won't need the wheel. But it's really a first great step. And many wine educators have adopted the Wine Aroma Wheel in their teaching, from introduction to wine to the more advanced sensory training course. So I really encourage you to consider incorporating the Wine Aroma Wheel in your teaching. So I was asked once, why not developing an app instead of using a physical product to teach wine tasting and to teach wine sensory description? Of course, that would be a great idea. We love having our phone in our hand, and that could be a potential solution. But what I found is that having something physical in your hand is much more engaging because it creates a multisensory experience. Handling the wheel, rotate it back and forth. I mean, of course, you could do that on a phone, but when you are tasting, you're engaging your senses. Handling the wheel is another approach, another sense that keeps you engaged in the task. And really, it really serves as a physical anchor for your tasting task. So I don't say no to an app. I think it can be a complement to the physical product, but I don't think it will replace the physical product unless we have something a bit more tactile and engaging in terms of the development of this application. And I've seen this remarkable engagement with the wheel in a tasting room in a recent visit, where people would just handling the Wine Aroma Wheel, put it on the table, turning one way, the other way, try to guide them in describing what they were perceiving, because they wanted to have conversation with their friends. It was not a competition to, decide who was right and who was wrong. It was really an engaging tool to facilitate again the communication among this group of friends who were there to have a good time tasting wine and enjoying wine. So I really recommend as well having a Wine Aroma Wheel at your tasting bar if you are a tasting room manager. Available. Doesn't have to be mandatory, but it could be as optional as having your napkin and your crackers on the tasting bar. But you can also create a dedicated tasting experience. We have several clients who are using the wheel for their immersive experience, where they help wine tasters discover the wonderful world of wine aromas, and the Wine Aroma Wheel is at the center of it. And then it's also a parting gift when the visitors are leaving the premises. Could also be, a great gift to put on your shelves for people to purchase as a merchandise and remember your winery. So let's address, the elephant in the room, because many people have decried the Wine Aroma Wheel, saying it was a pure product of the Western culture and not really appropriate for other culture. Correct. It was designed in North America, and certain terms like, green beans or butterscotch are really culturally specific. I think the wheel intent was really misunderstood. It's a standardized language, it's a process, but it was never meant to be a universal language of wine, like the WSET language. It's really a framework. It's not a rigid law. So this concept is absolutely transferable to other culture. Different words can describe a same perception. I know it sounds maybe difficult to understand, but that's why flavor chemistry becomes a great tool to help us describe wine by using aroma standards. For example, passion fruit and elderflower are two different words, but they are evoked by the same aroma compound, apparently. I've never really understood what elderflower was, but I've learned over time what passion fruit smells like. And I was in a wine aroma training the other day, and we were smelling compounds blind in wine. And to me, it was really passion fruit. And then the generic descriptor, the most commonly used descriptor to describe that particular aroma compound was elderflower. I was just like, oh, okay. Now I know what elderflower smells like. It smells like passion fruit. So using aroma standards, aroma compounds, or even products that you can get at your grocery store as anchor to really exemplify, the words that you are using to communicate about a wine is a great way to standardize the language that you want to use to describe your wines. I think this is where language is important. Standardization of language is very important to describe your portfolio of wine so that all the employees are using the same language. If you're part of a wine club, it's very fun to develop your standardized language to describe your wine so that you can have richer conversation when you are discovering your new wine regions through tasting. So really, again, it's not a universal language. It is a standardized language, a language you can standardize, change, adapt to your culture. It's a process, it's a guide, it's a tool. So this wine aroma wheel is still very relevant nowadays in 2026 because its purpose is about training you to categorize your perception from generic term to more specific words with confidence. Its format is very engaging and facilitate communication. It's very adaptable. So the wheel takes you through a simple process of organizing your thoughts as they arise when you perceive those aromas. It's really an important first step in your wine tasting journey because the next step is really to train your nose, to train your senses to be more precise and more confident, to associate those words with the sensation and be consistent in those associations. So it requires sensory training. And it starts by awakening your sense of smell, which is one of the most important senses in wine tasting. And it starts by what Dr. Noble would say, listening to your nose every day. So I invite you to check out this other video about mindful smelling, which is all about paying more attention to the scents surrounding you in your daily activity. And if you are still at the beginning of your journey, get your wine aroma wheel in your purse, in your bag, whenever you attend a wine tasting at your favorite wine shop, at your favorite wineries, or at your friend's house. It's really a compass for your senses. And it's very durable. It's printed on thick paper and it's laminated, for easy cleaning. Yes, it has been created in American English, but it has been translated in 7 other languages. In French, Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, in Danish, Swedish, and Norwegian. So I will put, in the link below the location where you can get your wine aroma wheel. Because when you get your wine aroma wheel, you are also invited to join a community of users to practice wine description with the wheel. It's called the Curious Palates. That's my online community, and you can see how to join here. And really, this community is an open training space for you if you want to improve your tasting skills with proven sensory techniques, with sensory training. All right, That's all for today. If you have any questions, leave them below and I will do my best to reply quickly. And subscribe, like this video, share it with others if they need to watch it. And I will see you soon. À bientôt.